What's up, guys? So today we're going to talk about toning your body, okay? Toning your arms specifically, because that's what I get asked quite often, but toning anything else, toning your legs, toning your stomach, your back, whatever. So I'm going to just give you what you need, get you in and out of here quickly, okay? So, number one, toning just means that you have muscle, but your body fat percentage is low enough that you can see that muscle, okay? So, toning is kind of like the outcome, but it's not something that you kind of program. So let me explain how you can tone. So I suggest you build muscle first, and I'm going to explain why. So build muscle first, spend some time in a building phase, eat calories, speed up your metabolism, build some strong, lean muscle mass. Now, when you're in this phase, you're probably going to feel fluffy and bulky and uncomfortable. But in order to get to that toned look you're after, you need to go through this phase first. And I'm going to explain why in a minute, okay? So spend some time, like some good time, 3 6 months, depending on how advanced you are. The more beginner that you are, basically the less time you can spend in there and build muscle kind of quicker. But yeah, you need to be eating food so that way you can build the muscle that you're looking to build, okay? Either if that's you're trying to tone your legs or tone your arms or tone your back, build some muscle in those areas first. And then you'll go through a phase where you reduce the calories to reduce your body fat percentage, keep your strength training up, of course, and keeping your protein high will maintain that lean muscle mass that you build. And then once you shed some of those layers of fat, you're gonna have this toned look that you were after, which is basically good enough muscle, lean enough body fat so you can see the muscle. Okay, now let me explain to you what happens if you do it the opposite, which is what most people do. Tone my arms, or just my arms are fat, whatever. They think they just need to lose weight. And what happens when you lose weight is you just end up basically it's the same body, like you're not going to look very different, you're just going to be a smaller version of that. So it's kind of like the term is skinny fat, where you're just kind of like soft, but you're thin, but you're not fit. And so some people might be like, I don't care. I just want to be thinner. I just want my arms smaller. But you'll realize once you get to that point that your metabolism is going to slow down. You're not going to have the look that you want. You're still going to have that same kind of body type. You're just going to be a smaller version of it. And so that's what ends up happening a lot of times if you cut first. You need to build the muscle first. And that's honestly the hardest part because most people, when they go into a phase of trying to tone their bodies, obviously the goal is to, lose some weight, feel better in their clothes, whatever. And trying to convince you that you need to actually do the opposite for a couple months, but it's going to serve you so much more in the long run is really hard. But if you just trust the process, it doesn't have, you're not going to get a toned body in 6 months. You have to go through a couple of phases. And I'm not even saying that first time you bulk and cut calories, you're going to have that toned look you want. You might have to go back into another building phase, build even more muscle, and then cut again so that way you can have the body type that you want. So that's the best way to do it. As far as cardio goes, when you're in the cutting phase, steps are king. They're going to be, as long as you're strength training appropriately, your calories are appropriate. Cardio is great for heart health. If you want to implement it, that's great. Don't overdo the cardio, obviously, because the goal, whenever you're in a cut, is to maintain as much muscle mass as possible. So that way you can have that toned look when you're done. I also want to just really quickly touch on something called recomposition. So if you're a beginner, or you've never really properly like programmed or strength trained, you've just kind of gone to the gym your whole life and just did random things, you could still recomp as a beginner. And so you can basically eat at maintenance calories. And so you're not eating extra, you're not eating less calories, you're eating at maintenance, what your body needs. And then you are strength training, and your body will kind of lose a little bit of fat and build a little muscle at the same time. And so you can kind of recomp like that. So that is very difficult for advanced lifters, or if you don't have that much to lose, because the progress is so gradual that you kind of go crazy. So I recommend honestly just going through a strict bulking phase, and it took me a really long time to like do that. So I get it, it's scary, but that's what's going to get you to the goal that you're looking for, of this toned body. And I do want to run through a couple of exercises that you could do that are going to help tone your arms. I'm just going to stick to arms because that's just the question I get all the time. But obviously, if you want me to go through exercises that are going to tone your lower body or your back or whatever, I can do that too. But specifically for arms, you're going to want to do things that are going to build your shoulders and your back because those are the biggest muscles you got there. Of course, we can target like isolated exercises for your triceps and your biceps, but doing things like overhead press, bent rows, it's automatically going to target the bicep and tricep anyways as secondary muscles. So you can add a little isolation, but don't overdo it with the isolation. Okay. So the big lifts, you already know. Overhead press. I'm talking about dumbbell, barbell, kettlebell, single arm, double arm, all the variations. Okay. Rows, all the variations. Barbell, dumbbells, all the things. Okay. Chin ups, assisted chin ups are great. Push ups are great. Lateral raises, rear delt flies, lat pull downs. All of these exercises are going to help build muscle and build strength, and that is your best bet on getting toned. So I hope you enjoy this, and if you have any questions about anything as far as toning goes, let me know. Bye.